Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Goffstown School Board. We are actually having a public hearing first, so I call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. We're going to stand and say the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we have a public hearing tonight for funds from the Capital Reserve. Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So our public hearing, I wanted to first note for the record that this public hearing was properly noticed in the required places, and we're holding this public hearing for two purposes. It has to do with the expenditure from our Capital Reserve Fund, and there are a number of projects, so I'll list them in order. So we've got a district IT firewall with 50% coming from E-rate, which is a matching grant that we received from the feds for an amount of $62,000. And the middle school cistern project, this is phase 2 of the fire suppression system replacement at Mountain View for $300,000. And lastly, at Mountain View, we have an IT core switch replacement for $50,000. So those are 3 projects that will be forthcoming. And also, as part of this public hearing, we're asking for authorization for reimbursement for the following 4 projects from the Capital Reserve Fund as well. Middle school rooftop HVAC unit replacement for $19,425. Middle school locker room floor project, $45,747. Middle school cafeteria table replacement project for $39,627, and wrestling mat replacement for around $13,000. So this would be the opportunity for any members of the public to come give public comment with respect to the utilization of capital reserve funds to offset these projects that I've just listed. And Mr. Totten would be happy to answer any questions that any board members may have.
Yeah, so before that, I just would like to clarify, and I apologize if you didn't get this information. The first one on there, the district IT firewall, we have good and bad news for that. The good news is that we've already maxed out our E-rate, our percent back that we can get, so it's done by project and by buildings as well. So the bad news is we'll have to wait a year for that. So the good news again is going back to that we're using the E-rate as much as we can, but we would no longer have dollars for that high school or for that district project for next year. So working with Stephen, he said we are okay to push it out a year, so that would probably be a request coming the following year.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Anyone else questions? Comments? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, so we can do motions to approve this.
Yep.
Yeah, I can start. So I will. So I was trying to start with the cistern, but I'm going to start with the HVAC.
Okay.
So a motion to withdraw $19,425 from the Facilities Capital Reserve Fund held by the Town of Goffstown trustees of the trust funds and deposit it into the Capital Projects Fund to fund the completed Mountain View Middle School rooftop unit HVAC replacement.
Thank you, Caroline. Do I have a second by Jack? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Students, teacher, yes. Opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. Go ahead.
So the next is a motion to withdraw $45,747.36 from the Facilities Capital Reserve Fund held by the Town of Goffstown trustees of the trust funds and deposit it into the Capital Projects Fund to fund the completed Mountain View Middle School locker room floor project.
Thank you, Caroline. By Jack. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, student, opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous.
So the next one is for the middle school cafe tables. A motion to withdraw $39,627.46 from the Facilities Capital Reserve Fund held by the Town of Goffstown trustees of the trust funds and deposit it into the Capital Projects Fund to fund the completed Mountain View Middle School cafe tables replacement project.
Thank you.
I'll second
Jack
that.
seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes. Opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous.
And then next is for the wrestling mats, a motion to withdraw $13,003.32 from the Facilities Capital Reserve Fund held by the town of Goffstown trustees of the trust funds and deposit it into the Capital Projects Fund to fund the completed Goffstown High School wrestling mat replacement.
Thank you. And Jack seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes. Opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous.
Now I'll do the cistern.
Okay.
Motion for use of the use of CRF motion to authorize the expenditures of $300,000 for the MVMS cistern project Phase 2 using the Goffstown Facilities CRF as presented.
Thank you, Caroline.
second
And
that.
Jack seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes. Opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. And the last one.
Last one is for the core switches, and this is use of CRF motion to authorize the expenditure of $50,000 for the MVMS core switches replacement project using the Goffstown Facilities CRF as presented.
Thank you, Caroline.
Second
And
that.
Jack seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes. Opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. All right, so with that, I am going to close public hearing. And we'll go on with our regular school board meeting. So correspondence.
Just one thing this evening, I wanted to share, this is the newsletter. It's in paper form. When it's sent to the teachers, it's not in paper form, but I wanted to share the online curriculum newsletter that Mrs. Lamson makes.
Thank you. All right, good news commendations. Brady.
All right, so since the last meeting, band, chorus, orchestra all attended, performed, and were adjudicated at the annual large group festival, receiving feedback on current skills from visiting music educators, primarily at the collegiate level. They were rated on a scale of 1 to 4 on a variety of skills, and I believe each ensemble received a 3 overall, so pretty good. State assessments, both the SAT and science, or SAS testing, I believe it's called, has been administered for juniors these past 2 weeks. SAT scores should come out May 1st, I believe. Then for more just standardized testing, world language classes, this includes French, Spanish, and Latin, took the stamp test for the seal of biliteracy. This was offered to all level 2 and 4 students. Those in level 2 took it as a benchmark of their current skill, and the level 4 students are pursuing the seal of biliteracy. Youth and government took place over 2 days at the New Hampshire State House, so our speech and debate students go there. Noah Babin was selected as the youth governor for the 25-26 school year, so kudos to him. The music department had its kickoff concert and final meeting before heading to Austria and Germany this week. They're heading out this Wednesday, very exciting. Theater Club hosted its variety show last Friday night along with Tri-M, and then the Art, Music, and Science Honor Societies have all had their inductions, and I believe Rho Kappa's is coming up relatively soon. I'm not sure on the exact date.
Awesome, thank you, Brady. Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
All right, some of these are from the previous meeting. I wasn't there to share, so I just wanted to kind of highlight a few things. During the week of March 3rd to the 7th, the 6th grade ELA classes celebrated the Read Across America week by rotating through stations that were basically designed to expose them to titles of different kinds of books and foster the love of reading and literacy. Team 6-1 celebrated Pi Day. Mr. Coates, who's one of the 6th grade teachers, he actually made 12 homemade pies to bring in from scratch. The students had a challenge of memorizing and reciting the digits of pi. He had 2 students, one who was able to recite 280 digits and one that did 211 digits. Pretty impressive. They both got a whole pie for themselves, which I'm sure they probably enjoyed. I don't know if they divided it, anyway. We have the MVMS Music Department is proud to announce they have 19 students who are selected to participate in the New Hampshire Music Educators Association South Central District Festival. There's 11 chorus members, 5 band, and 3 orchestra, and this event is going to take place on May 10th at Wyndham High School. The music department is the MVMS Music Ensemble is also headed to New Boston Central School to perform and answer questions about transition for any students who are interested in maybe taking up band. The spring MVMS Book Fair was a great success. Total sales were $8,173.17, and the library earned a little over $4,000 in scholastic dollars in which to purchase books and materials for the library. The library also wrapped up their Poetry Month with students who visited the library had the opportunity to work through 12 poetry stations, which included things like blackout poems, poetry spheres, haikus, and many more. The students were encouraged to take part and kind of celebrate their poetic abilities with some amazing designs. Plymouth State University was at Mountain View today. Their jazz ensemble, they performed for the 5th grade. They included some hits from Frozen and Minecraft. I'm sorry, Brandy, I don't know a joke for the chicken, the chicken jockey thing. Lava chicken. Oh, okay, so. Team 7-1 wrapped up its maple season this year. We tapped about 31 trees on the MVMS grounds and collected a little over 100 gallons of sap, which was a little bit more than we got last year. We used some of the sap this year to enter the Tucker Mountain Challenge, which we're still waiting for the results. We're competing against 12 other schools this year, and we also used some of that sap for various experiments and challenges within the classroom. We also took a wonderful trip this year to the Teeny Weeny Sweeney Farm in Ware, where the kids got to participate in all different kinds of aspects of making maple syrup. I dropped off a bottle for everybody, so this is syrup that was produced by the students, the label's produced by the students.
That's awesome.
It's just kind of a little thing to share with the school board.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
Sarah Jane Nato and her reading group created some positive messages and pictures of encouragement for the 6th graders who are taking their SAS testing this week. They made those little pom-pom creatures, and they attached positive messages that they gave out to the students of encouragement. And for the talent show was also last week, and Christian, a 6th grade student, won. And one of the happiest pieces of news is this is our last week of SAS testing, as well as we get ready for the April break.
Great, thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Bean?
For starters, you saw on the banner as you drove into the parking lot that Jason Shea, one of our mathematics teachers, won the Krista McAuliffe sabbatical for the 2025-2026 school year. A little bit about what he'll be doing. He'll be building an inquiry-based geometry class built on the research of Peter, I'm going to slur this name, Peter Lilladal's Building Thinking Classrooms, with the goal of getting students to develop critical thinking and deductive reasoning skills, and we're also proud of him. On March 13th, students in Mr. Greenland's Family and Consumer Science classes took part in the National Food Handlers Serve Safe exam, and we're very proud of the 43 students that earned this prestigious certification. On Saturday, March 29th, the Goffstown High School 2025 Science Olympiad teams placed second overall in the New Hampshire State competition. 19 students competed in 17 different STEM events. Here's your results. Sophia Garceau and Caitlin O'Dowd took first place in astronomy and third place in dynamic planet. Kara Schaefer and Chloe Dumet placed first in fossils. Emma Bird and Sophia Garceau placed third in ecology. Eli Douglas and Mason Nemec placed third in Codebusters. Noah Babin and Tyler Sanders placed third in Write It, Do It. Peyton Duff and Mia Brissett placed third in Forensics. In addition to the 7 medals, ribbons were awarded to Noah Babin and Ryan Weiss, who placed fourth in Codebusters. Bella Dambois and Layla Ruiz I'm going to say this. Thank you. Placed fifth in anatomy and physiology, and Spencer Styrey placed sixth in astronomy and ecology. On Monday, March 31st, 22 Goffstown seniors were awarded the NHADA Senior Scholar Athletes event. The event was held at the Capitol Center for the Arts in Concord. These students who letter in at least 2 varsity teams and have a B+ cumulative average are positive role models for our school and society. The Creative Writing Club and their advisor, Kimberly Cashin, released her first edition of the GHS Creative Writing magazine, which I had emailed out a copy of to all of you during the last meeting. And I'll continue to do that as she releases more. And then our SAP counselor, John Webb, is coordinating next year's Challenge Day scheduled for October 1st. And he cordially invites all of the Goffstown School Board members to consider joining for the day. It's a commitment to spend the entire day with 25 adults and 125 students, and a powerful day of feeling heard and being seen by your peers and adults in the community, and answering the question, if you knew the real me, you would know this. Past school board members seem to get a lot out of it, and if you're interested in participating, reach out to John Webb. Peer Outreach is leading a spring holiday gifting event for 40 Easter baskets, or they did, for Easter baskets for kids whose parents are in the Farnham Center in Manchester. Senior Maddox Turk, once again, it spearheaded that effort. Peer Outreach also just had its elections and would like to share who won. And we have Ari London, a sophomore, was named president. Maria Calabria Jr. as co-vice president, along with Hadley Vitale, a freshman. Abby Mitchell, a junior, became the treasurer. Haley Hansen, a junior, became the historian. And Avery Boisvert, a junior, and Casey Palmer, another junior, as co-secretaries. Co-advisors John Webb and Cherise Salter are proud to welcome these young members. And then finally, Catherine Osgood and Randy Loring, our gym teachers, would like to thank Wendy Kohler and the school board for their pickleboard sets from the grant that Wendy was able to secure for them. They're being put to good use in the classrooms. I've sent you each some of the pictures and videos of the kids playing along, so you could see what good use they are experiencing. And that's the good news from Goffstown High School.
Well, thank you so much, appreciate it. Ms. Kohler?
Yeah, just a few
Yeah.
things. Over at Maple Avenue, our 3rd and 4th graders have been working extremely hard on their SAS testing. They've been putting forth really great effort, and everybody would like to thank the Maple Ave PFD. They've been providing snacks and waters to ensure that our students are ready to go for testing. Our 1st and 2nd grade classrooms have participated in acts of kindness to encourage their older peers throughout testing. They've been writing notes of encouragement, providing goodie bags, and created posters encouraging all the 3rd and 4th graders to do their best. Over at Glen Lake, they had their 2nd annual Glen Lake Bike Safety Rodeo on Saturday. The event was supported by Brett's Bike Shop and the Goffstown Police Department. And many thanks to all of the staff and parent volunteers, Brett Bike Shop, and the Goffstown PD for making this a really fun activity for our students. And over at Bartlett, this week, Bartlett students and staff will be celebrating Community Week, the last week before vacation. They have a variety of exciting activities planned, including honoring our wonderful parent volunteers. Community Week aims to highlight how individuals within a community collaborate to achieve remarkable things, and the Bartlett community exemplifies this. Who are the people who support us within our community, both in school and beyond, is what the kids are thinking about. Today's theme was Dress as Your Favorite Community Helper Day. Additionally, they're offering optional activities such as sharing a personal or community goal within their classrooms. Each day will feature a spirit theme and various ways to celebrate our close-knit community and the amazing people they have in it.
Wow,
Thank you.
thank you, Mrs. Kohler. Anyone else, commendations, good news? Go ahead, Jenny.
I would like to commend the group of parents that have put together the 8th grade Washington DC trip that will be happening soon. I think it's just an awesome year for our 8th graders to be able to be being 250th year of the revolution, for our kids to be able to be in Washington DC and participate in things that will be happening. So it's a ton of work. I can't even imagine putting it together. So thank you to all those people for, thinking of our kids and getting them there.
Yeah, thank
Awesome.
you, Ginny.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? Commendations, good news? Go ahead,
Can I ask a
Shane.
question?
Go ahead.
Brady, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot. But you mentioned it. So you guys are currently doing standardized testing.
Correct.
SAT and Science SAS.
Yeah.
Could you explain what that looks like in comparison to your day-to-day routine at school?
Yeah, all right, so for the SATs, I believe it was on a Wednesday 2 weeks ago. And so freshmen, sophomores, seniors, they were all asynchronous that day, so, because some teachers were proctoring the SATs, so they were just giving work. All the juniors came in. I believe the top 50 were in the library, and then the rest were sorted alphabetically, I think. And so they were just in their room, and they were testing from around 8 in the morning towards like 1-ish, and then they were off on their day. And then SAS testing was a little bit different. Last week, it was on Monday and Tuesday, and then it was split into 2 sessions. There was a morning and afternoon session. And so students would go in their session, and it took about an hour and a half, but the time allotted was 3 hours just for those who needed a bit more time. They were just in a science classroom, actually, and they were just they had laptops set up. Does that answer your question?
So, yeah, pretty much. But so would you say that testing days look much different than any other day you have at school?
The SAT day was a bit more different, but the SAS testing, especially
period.
for those
Yeah.
who weren't testing,
Yeah.
was completely normal.
Okay.
And then even for those who were testing, the 2 periods that they didn't have anything was the exact same as a normal day.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Anyone else? So before we move on, I do have two commendation good news. So I don't know if anybody knows, but this week is National Volunteers Week. Started yesterday, goes to the 26th. So I think us as the board should acknowledge all of our wonderful volunteers we have in this community. We just heard about quite a few of them in our commendations, but we have our parent-teacher groups, we have our sports, so many volunteers with our sports, theater, the library, small events, and I think we should acknowledge them and thank all of you. We're extremely grateful and appreciate everything. All right, so moving on to public comment. Is there any public comment? All right, seeing none. So tonight we have 2 presentations. We have the Mountain View Middle School. They're going to do a music department presentation, so if you guys want to come down. And there's a couple of microphones, you can introduce yourself. And we have the brochure in our packets, and I think they're going to show it on the screen. Turn the lights off. Welcome.
We had a problem doing this last time.
Isn't that one over there?
This isn't here.
It's not that one.
You have to have the app.
Yeah.
At least we figured out how to put the screen down.
Yeah, we know how to put the
I think
screen
they're
down.
dim.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, there
That
you
works.
go. Nice.
Sure.
That's, that was actually good all the way down, unless someone needs to read something.
So there's a switch. I'm just really, I apologize. I don't know where it is.
That's fine.
That's probably as good as we're gonna get.
Can you see it?
My name is Mike Kenyon. I teach 5th grade and 6th grade general music, band, and chorus.
My name is Jim Mara. I teach 7th and 8th grade band and general music.
Christopher Mancuso, 5 through 8 strings and general music.
David Saunders, 7th, 8th grade chorus and general music. We're going to start this evening on our next slide. If you want to turn your eyes that way, it's much more entertaining. So this is excerpts from our March Music in Our Schools Month concert. And they're set up in progressive order from beginners to advanced students in each area. next slide here, just a couple slides to highlight some of our positive movements we made over the past 3 to 7 years. So our data is from the past 3 years. Like most programs coming out of the COVID pandemic, we had, the setbacks of not really having ensembles for a year, and then kind of having ensembles but not really performing. And then, as you can see from the data there, just growing exponentially. And one thing we're really liking we're seeing is we're starting to see growth in our orchestra program. We have a great number of students. We did a great recruiting push last year, which we're doing again this year out to the 2 Goffstown elementary schools. And we're just so excited that students are getting involved. So basically over 50% of the school in Mountain View is involved in a music performing ensemble. So, which is, next to the rest of the state, is just amazing. We're up there with the best of the best at this point. So we just keep pushing to increase our quality. On the next slide, through the help of Ms. Kohler and other previous administrators at Mountain View, they've helped us put together some Title IV grant lesson program over the past couple years. And so the summer programs have been for a vocal ensemble and for students to receive one-on-one or small group instruction on their instrument, which, if any of you have ever gotten lessons for yourself or for a child, you know that it's not an inexpensive thing. So to have that as free to our students has been a great opportunity for them to get that extra help, and we've seen them just get so much more engaged during the school year, which was the main focus of those grants, was to increase engagement, which has also come through in the numbers of students involved in the program. On the next slide, just listed our performance opportunities we had for students during the school year. We try to provide as many different opportunities, not only for our students to showcase their learning, but also to foster the importance of civic engagement through performance at school assemblies and ceremonies. And we're always looking for ways to try to increase our students' performance opportunities. But we do have, as you can see from the list, just a lot of different great opportunities. We invite you all. We have one more concert at the middle school this year. On May 20th is the Chorus Spring Sing, and then on the 21st is the band and orchestra night. So feel free to come on out. Parking's a little hard sometimes, but maybe we'll reserve your spot if you let me know ahead of time. So it's great performance opportunities for kids. Next slide. We have our expanded learning opportunities. So things for students who want to go that extra distance. When you're working with over 400 students, there's some students who, during the school day, this is exactly what I want. I'm good, I love it. And then we have the students that want to go that extra step. So between our after-school ensembles, Mr. Mancuso started the chamber orchestra when he arrived, and got more students involved in orchestra in that way through having that opportunity. And all those groups meet on Monday. So if you ever want to hear a rousing mix of all kinds of things, just walk down in front of the library on a Monday afternoon, and you'll hear all different variety of music coming from our little hallway. As Mr. Davis mentioned, we have the South Central District Festival coming up, which will be at Wyndham High School, where we'll have 19 students participating. And that includes students from all across the South Central District of our state. So basically from just around us in Manchester, straight down 93. And students are selected based on the director's recommendation and then balancing the ensembles. String Fest is an awesome opportunity for our students to participate with students from other schools. It's been held at Timberlane the past couple years. Before that, it was run at Mountain View for over 20 years. So we're just kind of sharing the love on that one. And Timberlane's taken over that for a little while, but that's a great opportunity for the string students. Middle level honors ensembles is an audition group. It's basically like middle school all-state. So the students have to prepare music, and that is for band specifically. It's Band Directors Association. So we've had students audition and make it into that ensemble over the years, but it is a very difficult thing. Basically, you take all the best middle schoolers in the state, and you can only pick 9 trumpet players out of the 60 that audition. And it's all pre-recorded too. The grant lesson ensemble programs, as I mentioned before, and we hope to do things like that again in the future, have more opportunities for our students. Next line, accomplishments. Our key focus over the past 7 years has been to advance student learning through improving access to quality curricular tools and have been successful in optimizing funding both through the district and federal grants. We've increased our important things on there, our availability in general music units, being able to offer more advanced technology. Last year, we switched over from Macs to PCs, so we switched over from GarageBand to using a program called Soundtrap, which is great for kids. They can access it through Schoology, and they can access through it at home. So it's not, before they do a GarageBand project, that's like great, but if you didn't have a Mac, you couldn't do any more with it. But I have kids that literally, they come in and they're like, we did it like months ago, and they're like, Mr. Stars, I made another thing, and they're like, show me. They just keep digging in because they can use it anytime they want at home. So that's been a great new tool. We've had lots of students who, we started ukulele a couple years ago. We have kids that now that every year's like, when are we doing the ukulele unit? I got one last year for Christmas, I want to bring it in. Same thing for the keyboard lab. We have kids that they just take off, and all of a sudden you'll hear from some of them in the video, that they're asking their parents for a keyboard, and they're just, whether they decide to take lessons or they just keep exploring on their own, they're finding a love and passion in music outside of the performance ensembles. So even though we say these are the performance ensembles, every student at Mountain View is involved in music. And a lot of them are finding, hopefully, long-term, lifelong passions for themselves in those experiences. On the last slide, you'll see our future goals. As always, we're continuing to expand our school and instrument inventory. We're trying to be responsive to the needs of our community. Everything costs money. Renting instruments costs money. And so we've been getting, over the past 7 years, almost every instrument that we have in our inventory is back to fully working condition. So if a kid needs a flute, we have a flute. Or if a kid wants to switch from tenor sax to bari sax, or from euphonium to tuba, we have those instruments available for them. So we worked really hard to get all of our equipment up in playing condition. Continue expanding performance opportunities, and we're currently working, about 6 years ago, we were, Ms. Kohler helped us through budgetary funds to get 6 new chorus risers, and then the chorus doubled in size. So we've been using the 4 old ones, but that's our next thing, is to get those last 4 replaced so that we can have a nice, safe, and proficient performing space for all of our chorus students. Our last slide, we're going to let the students talk for us. These are all 8th grade students. All the music that you're going to hear in the background was produced as part of the Soundtrap assignments in our music classes. So, hope you enjoy.
Take what you're feeling and emotion and what you have inside of you and express it, in which people can connect with, is something that I think is very important. It's something I thought I'd never be able to do.
In music, I learned how to play the Elvis Presley song called Can't Help Falling in Love with You on piano. That's something I never thought I'd be able to play on piano or ever get to learn.
Playing the piano, I used to see my sister do it all the time. She would alter her fingers, draw it left and right, and I didn't really understand it. I'm like, oh, I wish I could play it.
To play a song on the piano, and after practicing the piano unit for a while, I finally got to be able to play a song.
First, I thought that I was terrible with instruments. Then Mr. Marr taught me piano, and I fell in love with it. Now I learn songs on piano and tunes and melodies. I love to play piano because it makes me happy to play it, as well as helping me feel important.
I once thought that learning how to play popular songs on the ukulele was impossible, but when I learned, I discovered that it was easier than I thought.
I once thought I'd never be able to learn how to play an instrument, but in music I've learned how to play the drums, ukulele, and piano.
The middle school chorus program has given me many new friends that I've experienced my middle school years with. It has also helped me experience many new types of genres, and it's helped me see which types of genres I like best for my voice.
The music department gives us something different to do in school.
I've made so many new friends. The music teachers are nice, accepting, and patient with new kids who are wanting to try learning how to play a new instrument.
It's definitely helped my confidence. It's gotten me into a lot of different things like theater, and it's overall helped me make more friends.
It has enhanced my middle school year and allowed me to connect with new people.
It's because it has made me realize my love for music. I would have never met and gotten close to most of my friends today, and the adults that helped me improve them along the way.
especially Siobhan, who encouraged me to overcome my fears to join the chamber choir and theater.
In middle school has helped me learn my instrument more than I thought I could before, and gave me something to work for and something to be excited for.
Because it made me feel like I have a place or where like a community. Because I arrived mid 7th grade and I didn't have anyone to like really hang out with. But being in orchestra made me find the people that I could really get along with and connect with.
Being in the middle school chorus has allowed me to make new friends and learn new songs that I never thought I'd learn. It also helps me learn the meaning of many different songs.
Introducing me to new songs and pushing me to put myself out of my comfort zone.
The music department here has been a lot of fun, and it introduced me to things that I probably would never have tried.
Being part of the middle school community for orchestra and other music departments has been such an improvement and change in my life because I finally am able to fit in somewhere. It's just a fun, energetic, kind community that's helpful throughout everything.
Band in the middle school made middle school actually fun, and it made it so that after school, instead of worrying about homework, it was more like I had fun with my brother practicing music that I didn't know I could do before.
Getting to have the little joy in my day that switches my mood. I've been given so many fun opportunities during my school years. Being in the music department has definitely been the best part of middle school.
It has given me an extracurricular that I'm very excited to be a part of every single day.
Because it's helped me better understand and appreciate music.
It's one of the things that makes me feel happiest in my life, and it makes me express what I'm feeling through when I play in my music.
It's important to me because it's something that I want as a career and I can really see myself achieving in the future.
Helps me build confidence and strength.
Because being knowledgeable about multiple subjects is important.
It brings people together in a way that I don't think really anything else does.
I can use it for high school and for many other things like maybe a future career.
If I need to calm down or I just need time to myself, I can go and play piano and it helps me.
When you're a musician, you can hear the notes. You hear every little note. You hear every little part. It's an amazing thing.
Because it allows you to express yourself, emotions, ideas, and your opinions.
By showing me teamwork and dedication.
20% of children learn an instrument, but 70% of adults wish they had. And I look forward to music every other day and wish I had it more often.
Well done. How fantastic was that?
That was
Great.
wonderful.
Just want to say thank you to all of our past and present administrators. You know, there's some that aren't with our district anymore that have been great supporters of our program, either retired or moved on to other districts. Brian himself, right out of COVID, he came out and played guitar on Change the World, and it was an amazing way to start a new, fresh beginning after that experience. So thank you to you also as the school board. Everything that you guys do helps make the work that we do in the day easier. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah.
The numbers are incredible. I mean, the
are.
numbers speak for themselves, and you have to have a great feeder program. So what we now have at Mountain View is a great feeder program to the high school. So we have this whole complementary, and for example, Mr. Mancuso is also teaching strings at Bartlett. We have strings happening at Maple Ave. So it's so encouraging to have opportunities to share the love of music and the performing arts with the kids. And many thanks to our wonderfully talented staff who do that every day.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Go ahead, Retta.
I just want to make a comment, just listening to all the students. It seemed like overwhelmingly the students were making connections with each other and other musicians, and you know, especially coming out of COVID, where a lot of students may have been struggling with that, and middle school in itself. I think it's great.
Thank you. Anyone else, comments, questions for them?
I just want to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw a lot of familiar faces in the video, which was great. But I just want to point out too, it wasn't typical music students. There was a large cross-section of kids that are involved in a lot of activities in the town. And I just think that's a testament to how awesome the program is, because music is for everyone. There's something for everyone, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. All right, anyone else? Yeah, go ahead.
I would just take the opportunity to thank Mrs. Milligan for being here with her staff. These are
Yeah.
all our middle school administrators.
Yep.
And I would be remiss to miss the opportunity of recognizing Lindsay in a larger setting. She won't like this. But Lindsay doesn't know this. A week and a half or so ago, when we had our SAU board meeting, I let the board know that she was chosen by the New Hampshire Special Ed Administrators Association as the emerging leader for our region. So here she is in the flesh. I'm sure she's not real happy about it. Congratulations, Lindsay.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you. Appreciate you coming and sharing this wonderful
Thank you for
news.
having
Keep us posted on everything. Thank you.
And please go home, guys.
Turn the lights back up
Yeah, if I can.
so we can.
Flashing, I thought it was on delay. I thought Scott was using the app at home. In Boston.
All right, so our next presentation is Megan Bizzaro. Yes, it's you. Well, you're coming to give us some updates on food service. Does everybody have this in their packet? And no songs and dancing, sorry. Not my thing. I know we do, because we got it A and F.
We didn't get it.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
go ahead, Megan.
All right. For those of you who are new to the board, because I believe there's a couple of new faces here, welcome. How food service works is we are an enterprise fund, which means we bring in, well, our plan is we bring in enough money to cover all of our expenses. So we're not requesting money from the general fund. So when folks pay their tax bill, they're paying for the operating budget of the schools, not the food service program. And the caveat to that is that we're also hoping that all of our families will pay who need to be paying, which is always a challenge. So I prepared for you a very similar document as last year. I'm just going to kind of walk you through this. And please feel free to ask questions as we go along. But this is our information on meal participation here at the top. You'll see breakfast and lunch, and it's broken out by our buildings, and it's broken out by last year as compared to this year. And this is our average, so obviously there are days we're busier than other days, but when we're doing any kind of measurement in school food service, we use what we call ADP, which is our average daily participation. And a lot of things can factor in here. For example, with Bartlett, decreased enrollment means less kids in the building, less kids to feed, but we do maintain the percentage, which is great that our percentage is still maintaining, although our number is lower in terms of lunch, if you look at that.
Yeah, Denise is making copies,
Oh.
because not all board members got a copy.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
A and F got it.
But one of our highlights actually is the high school. And I'm going to point that out in particular because we only have one lunch period, as many of you know, which is pretty tricky when it comes to the food service portion. The staff works super hard and get everything all ready, and in about, Brady, 12 minutes roughly, lunch is over. Even though it's a half an hour. If we haven't served a student a lunch in the first 12 minutes roughly, the students aren't either coming down to the cafeteria or they're not coming to the cave because line time and other things that are pulling them in different directions. So the staff have done a great job kind of figuring out how to be fast and have things that the students enjoy. So you can see that they've gone up from roughly 289 to 296. So it's not a huge increase, but it is a nice increase for us to see at our larger building. Mountain View's about the same, and Maple has decreased a little bit, but I think some of this also is numbers through March. I'll be curious to see through April, because in January, every single building had a had a large drop in participation, and I believe that's when the flu and everything was going around. It was really keeping kids and people out for more than a day. It was more like a week to 2 weeks. And we actually really saw that in our numbers. We don't usually see it so blatantly. Questions about participation? Or, Brad?
Yeah, I want to go back to, you have to serve lunch in 12 minutes, and I guess I'm wondering and maybe concerned that some students are just not eating at all. Of course, high school kids tend to do that sometimes, but if they don't have food and still need to get through the rest of the day, do you get any
Yeah, I'm sorry, 12
feedback?
minutes is, they actually have about a half an hour.
Okay.
But our busiest time is roughly the first 12 minutes. And this is kind of a more of a societal piece of no one wants to stand in line versus, all of us, we're all guilty of that. Who wants, if you go to Disney, you've got the speed pass, so you can skip the line. And but we're always open from roughly 7:40, or roughly right around 7:50, I believe it is, or 7. But we're always open, and the kids can come and knock. We have our 2 vending machines where we have sandwiches and parfaits in there, and sometimes we have cheese and crackers, so it's not just the typical snack type of items. So we do have options for students pretty much 24/7. So, but thanks for asking that question. Anything else, folks? So now we get to the meat of it all, the money. You'll see that we are very fortunate. We started the year with a fund balance of $340,922. A lot of that is from COVID, when we were able to feed students for free at a higher reimbursement rate. It was guaranteed money coming in. We didn't have to collect anything. It was awesome, even though COVID had lots of horrible things. Feeding students for free was fabulous. So we are projecting roughly a $30,000 operating budget shortfall. So by operating, that's what it takes to get everything done in a day. Okay, it doesn't include any capital expenses like a dishwasher or the serving line or replacing warming units. The next line down there is capital expenditures, that's $58,000. That's the serving line and several warmers that we've had to replace, okay? And what's good that we have a fund balance is that money doesn't have to come out of the general fund. It comes out of our fund balance. So we're anticipating a net change of approximately $88,000 of a decrease in our fund balance by the end of June. So that would leave us starting next year with a fund balance of $253,331. Okay, so we're still going to have money in the bank, but it will, I don't anticipate us getting back to a break-even year, to be very frank with you. The next line down is, some of you may remember, we received supply chain assistance funds. Those were funds from USDA. As we were coming out of COVID, and the reimbursement rate was decreasing, they said, oh, but you can't get food, or you can't get people, or you can't get, so they were providing supply chain assistance fund. There was some confusion beginning of this year from Department of Ed, because we did have some monies left to draw down. They were here, we just needed to draw them down into our department, and we were able to clarify that, and so we were able to capture roughly $30,000, okay? And that actually is in our revenue number. So next year, we will not have that number. So we're already $30,000 less in revenue next year, all right, off the top, okay? And so now we get to, questions about the financial status. Great, okay. So now we move on to pricing. We had a lot of discussion, Scott, Brian, and Doug, and myself, about what do we do, where do we go, trying to be, empathize with our community, but at the same time knowing that we're gonna need to raise something, raise a price. This affects our families who are not eligible for free and reduced, okay? Obviously, we don't charge them, we don't change the reduced price meal, that'll stay at 40 cents because that's set federally. So those are the two categories that we can't change this. So it's our full paying students who are going to be affected. We are recommending a 25-cent increase across the board for breakfast and lunch at all levels. We're not sure what tariffs are going to do. I've been talking with all of my vendors, and they're just as lost as we are. They really don't know. The vendor that I'm most worried about is our paper vendor, because that primarily, a lot of it comes from China. So that is a big concern for our buying group that we're part of. So that's about 60 districts across the state that belong there. So, and we're, inflation, yes, egg prices are coming down, but there really aren't many other grocery prices that are coming down. And really, once things get up to a certain price, a lot of times bringing it down isn't really going to work, because are you going to change what you're paying someone? Are you going to decrease that? That labor cost has gone up. I mean, how many of us have seen the signs at Dunkin' Donuts at $17 an hour for a high school student? I don't think that's going to change. And that's one of the drivers for us and for any other business, is the cost of labor. So I don't know as we're going to see many decreases in our products. We'll probably see some increases. We've already started to see a few increases already. Not huge ones, but there are ones coming. So our overall recommendation is to do this, the price increase, but again, that is your decision to make, totally and completely. We do anticipate a deficit pretty much going forward, because to get to where we probably, if we wanted to break even, we would have to do a much larger price increase, and then I don't think that's being very sensitive to our community and what's happening in our community right now. We are also going to be developing what Scott calls an anticipatory hiring model, because we have had a history of some unfilled positions. This year, knock on wood, we've been pretty lucky. For the most part, we've had positions filled. We've had one position that took longer to fill than in the past, than in the summer. But I like to think of this as a floating person, someone who's here, probably based out of the high school, because that is our largest building. And if we have someone out at Bartlett, they go to Bartlett, or they go to Mountain View, or they go here or there, and see how that works. I am anticipating, unfortunately, a lot more administrative work for myself in particular, because next year we do have to track by invoice, by food item, where things are purchased and made from, because we are going to have a percentage cap of how many dollars we can spend on non-domestic items. So, which is pretty huge, because when you think of produce, where does most of that come from? A lot of it comes from out of country, depending upon the time. So, so those are things that are kind of coming down that we're anticipating. Plus, having this person here, I think, we're going to do some study in terms of how many days have we gone unfilled, and what that cost was, and if we were to fill this position, what would that look like, and kind of and do that. So, questions, folks?
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah.
Anybody questions? do you have anything?
I would just add that Doug, Scott, and I met with Meg. We went through the numbers. I think we're not aggressive enough about increasing our food prices. So this is something that I think as a board, we're hesitant to increase 5 cents or 10 cents, but I think the reality is, I mean, how does everybody's grocery bill look? You know, so I think we've got to be a little more aggressive about some of our price increases. So I definitely support the 25 cents, but still, this won't get us to a point that we're probably not going to stop losing money for a while. So that's the unfortunate reality. And part of the other conversation at some point in time we're going to want to have is, are there any other ways that the school district can help support the program? So for example, Megan's salary is part of the calculation when we go through and look at this as an enterprise fund. A lot of school districts are partially subsidizing their director as one example of how to help control some of that cost for families. So more to come on that. The prognosis isn't great looking out into the future, but I think this is a modest price increase, and I think we probably should have been doing more aggressive price increases historically. Doug, anything you would add?
In my last place too, we were starting to see that the revenue at the end of the year was not meeting up with the expenses. And so that's always something you want to have happen with food service, but, you know, when we looked at our meals there, we look at our meals here, there's quality to the meal too, which is something that we want to offer because we expect a lot of our kids throughout the day, and we want to be feeding them something that lets them to keep going, lets them keep learning type of thing. But I think with that quality, if we look at the prices, like Brian said, they're not that high. So if you went and we got a meal at McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, they definitely would be more than that $3.75, $4 type of thing. So I think we're trying to find that sweet spot of balancing what the community would like to pay and also bringing down our fund balance by a little bit, but not by too much each year as well. So definitely, it's a tough thing to kind of find that right spot.
Right. Thank you, Doug. Go ahead, Ginny.
Just two things. I think the $4 doesn't sound like much, but if you have multiple kids and there's 5 days in the week, then it does add up to a fair amount of money for a family. I mean, just looking at the $4, $4 is not much, but then when that's $20, and that's $20 for 3 children, well, that's $60 a week. That's a fairly large chunk of money for a family. And the other thing is, we used to have a program where we worked with farms.
Farm to school?
Yeah, farm to school. Is that still a
Still
program
around.
that we're working with?
We actually have never participated. There isn't any formal farm to school, if you will. There is a state program that tries to help connect, but it's very jumbled. The issues around farm to school, a lot of it is transportation and the amount of product. So, for example, you know, we're not that huge of a district. So, you know, we're not like a Nashua where you could work with a farmer and say, I want to do, and before they even plant, you could say, I want to pre-buy, if you will, you know, 60,000 pounds of lettuce. I don't know, I'm making up numbers, obviously. But we're not to that size. It is a program that we look at every once in a while, but I will tell you, our vendors, our produce vendors are getting more local product. And local meaning some of them are from New England, some of it is New Hampshire, some of it might be Maine. But we have not participated directly with a farmer.
Because I see a lot of farms advertising CSA. Now, is that a way that you could get around any of that problem at all?
No, CSAs are community supported agriculture. That's more for families and individuals versus institutions. And how some CSAs work, because I use them myself, is you go once a week and you pick up whatever they have. So you have no say in what they're giving you or the amount.
Right.
So you might get one beet or one head of lettuce. So for a school to do that, that would probably be a little bit cumbersome for a farmer because it's a lot of kids to feed, so. Yeah, CSAs are great for communities though.
Because I'm just thinking if you could work with them with a CSA plan where, like you're not the family person, but you're a bigger entity, that could work around the problem that you're gonna have with domestic product only.
I'm not sure it's gonna be a big problem.
Okay.
Because there are exceptions, for example, pineapple and mandarin oranges. There's a USDA exception. So there are items that there are exceptions. Because the local piece it does cost more. So for example, I had stuff come across my desk today from a product called, out of Maine. It's a mainly marinara, and it's made for schools, great product. It's more than twice the cost for a serving size. So when I look at those things, I have to think about that return, like, okay, is this, if this is something that our community is really interested in and wanting to do, then absolutely we'll start looking more seriously at that. But we have to go in with our eyes wide open of, we might be doubling our costs or this or that, or, but I do know places like Portsmouth, I think Oyster River, there's a couple of more the seacoast area, but they will actually put out a warrant article and put, say, for example, for a certain dollar amount of money that they will put in and direct it towards local purchasing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ginny. Anyone else? Questions, comments? Oh, go ahead.
So I don't disagree with what Ginny is saying with, the increase in how much it costs for families, and it does all add up, but I think it just also, we need to advocate for families to apply for free and reduced lunch, which has become a lot easier. You can do so, I believe, right on the Link Connect app.
Yes.
It does not take a long period of time, and even if you think it's something that you're not going to qualify for, take the time to do it, because reduce is reduced. And so that could bring your 25 increase next year down, maybe 50 cents.
Yeah.
So I think that it is an important thing for families to do, no matter your situation.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's completely confidential. I'm literally the only one who gets the information. No one else in the district, just so families know, no one else in the district gets your application information. It's just me. And I will tell you, I was a student who received that benefit as a kid. I know how important that is and how important it is to protect that information, because everybody out there in the world has all the best heart and the best intentions. But this is your personal information, and we will, as long as I sit in this chair, no one else is getting it. Sorry, Brian.
And it can also bring.
I've never wanted it, to be clear.
It also can bring educational money into the district.
Correct.
If you take the time to fill out an application.
Yeah.
So it really is worth it to you and to the district, so.
Yes.
Jared, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
sorry.
Thank you, that's quite all right. Doug, looking at the increases and all other things being equal against our forecast, with this increase, what would we potentially have for an overspend for next year?
So just the supply chain itself is gonna bump us, in the negative by another 30,000. So if we were, roughly 30,000 in the hole this year, and then another 30,000 from that, we're already at 60,000. We know that the wage increases are gonna happen. We know that some prices are gonna go up as well. So the 25 cents, though, I think, do you remember what that? 40?
I want to say that, sorry, I don't have that here. It's on my, I think that was.
I think it was around 40,000?
I think so.
Yeah.
If participation stays the same. That's the assumption.
So I would guess around maybe 30,000 type of thing, because you have, the 60,000 plus more that we're gonna be in the hole. And then we would be getting back about another 40,000.
So we'll be running in the negative roughly $30,000 from our projections.
Roughly 30,000. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
And that's without any big equipment purchases.
Laura, did you have your hand up?
I was just gonna agree that I think with all the rising costs, it's just such a challenge even to pack that lunch at home for 2, 3, 4 kids for that price, you know, even if you're at the grocery store to get them the lunch that's filling and well-rounded, it's just becoming a challenge to beat these prices as well, so I don't think it's too far off. But I do think that, I know this will be a lot more administrative work for you with the tariffs and things that are new, and I think there might be some space for creative thinking around some more like farm local options, if there is any possibilities for that, maybe just like in-season fruit or things to start like that, like, you know, what local farms can do apples when they're plentiful here versus
Yeah.
something else. I have no idea, but I'd love to learn more about, you know, what
I can,
the process might be.
I can work on something, probably for maybe in the presentation in the fall. Would that be appropriate? I don't know. Just, you know, give me some time to work it through.
Yeah, I'd just be curious to learn more. I know it will be a lot of new research. Thank you. Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome. Laura. Go ahead, Vanessa.
I just am interested in the break even per student. So you're saying a quarter is still gonna leave us in the hole increase. What's the break even per student-ish? 50 cents?
I would say it's probably 50 cents.
They thought, I
easily.
asked the same question,
Yeah.
and Scott
Yeah.
thought it was more than that.
Yeah.
So because
might even
I
be-
asked that exact same question.
Yeah.
What number does it need to be that the program isn't going to lose money? And by the way, this isn't from people not paying their debt. This is just, we're not charging enough for the operational costs that we have. And I think it's higher than that.
I don't think we'll see too much of a bump down from a 25-cent increase, but as soon as you start going over 50 cents, you're gonna see a bump down, which means that you're gonna have to kind of go up even more to bring in the same amount of revenue, because you have less kids who will be buying, or kids will be buying less times per week, too. So, I mean, we don't have that advanced modeling, but we do know that at some point, if you're going past 50 cents, 75 cents, you're gonna decrease by a decent amount.
And then you also run the risk of folks not being able to afford it, but they also can't afford to purchase groceries at home. So then they're racking up a bill, because we feed anybody who comes through the door. And that's a whole other nightmare. It just is, for everybody involved, the kid, the family, us. Jack, I saw your hand up, go ahead.
You know what solves all of us, right? If we feed all the kids, if we put it on a warrant article, and we feed them and we find creative ways, and there is plenty of information out there that will tell you that grades increase, student performance is better if they're fed. You want to go down anyway, fight that battle any way you want. I'm sure I can win it. And Brian can probably tell me all the things I need to know.
Well, I agree with Jack on this one, and the state of Maine agrees, the state of Vermont agrees, and the state of Massachusetts agrees. So this is something that is, you know, obviously widely occurring in New England. We are the only state that's not doing this. So, and the research is exactly what Jack said.
I thought, I'm sorry, Jack, you said a warrant article as though it was a town. I thought it was a state, like.
It is,
law.
in those other states, it is a state.
It's a state.
It's a
So
state.
the state
But
reps that
someone-
were in here
Yeah.
last time, we probably should have asked them more about their stance on that. I know there was a vote, I think, over the summer for it, and it
There've been,
There's been a few.
passed
been
down
many.
party lines.
I said
There
warrant
have been
article
many of
because
them.
of what Meg said about the warrant
Oh, I
article
see,
for
okay.
the buying local.
Okay, so it is a state.
So, but that
Our
would
state
be
has
a-
other things to improve, though. For example, the state of Maine pays for 55% of the cost of all public schools. The state of Vermont pays about 80% of the cost of local public schools. So New Hampshire has a lot of areas that we could do better in.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, so going back to this, so is there any more discussion? If not, then we'll need a motion for the 25-cent increase.
I can do it. So do a motion to approve the food service director's recommended price increase of 25 cents for breakfast and lunch effective for the fiscal year 26-27 school year.
All right,
I
thank
feel I
you.
have to second.
Jack seconding. All right.
No, hold on.
It's going to be
25, 26.
What did you say?
26, 27.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh.
sorry, 25, 26.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't even catch
Time
that.
warp.
I don't think we should delay it a year, but.
Yeah, no. All right, Jack, you second the
I will
amendment?
say yes.
Denise, you got that?
Thank you,
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teacher, student, yes. Opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. Great. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Megan.
Have a
Please
good
go
evening.
home.
Yes, please go home.
Yes, that's the plan.
All right, so next is, we have two sets of minutes to approve. The first is April 7th. We'll do that one first. Anybody see anything? If not, I'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, Shane, go ahead.
Go ahead.
To approve the minutes from April 7th, 2025 as presented.
Thank you, Shane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Retta. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teacher, student, yes. Student, yes. Opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. And then the next is our deliberative. So we need to approve these minutes. So did everybody have a chance to read them? So I'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the school deliberative session on February 3rd, 2025.
Thank you, Retta. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Vanessa. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teacher, students, yes. Opposed, abstaining. All right, we're unanimous. All right, we're getting into committee reports. So manifest is first. So go ahead, Caroline.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the April 9th to April 21st, 2025 manifest and a total amount of $2,248,373.38.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
By Jack. All right, go ahead, Caroline.
Okay, so the breakdown of that manifest includes payroll, taxes, and benefits in a total amount of $1,438,699.25. Special ed activity, there's a lot in this, so I will just go through a couple. We had in-district and out-of-district transportation through Durham School Services for $87,490. We also had special ed transportation through Home Base for $11,640. We had out-of-district services through the Lighthouse School at $25,711. And then out-of-district services through Seven Hills of $57,127. We had out-of-district services at Spalding Academy for $14,290. And Speak Easy Speech, we paid $10,140 for special ed contracted services. That category totaled $283,676.50. Then in the general expenses category, we had $20,430 for books, equipment, and supplies paid to Amazon. We had $11,313 for facilities, IT, food service expenses on the BMO Harris Bank, which I believe is the credit card. Then we paid Consolidated Communications for our telephone and upgrade system. That is through the CRF and E-rate. We paid Dead River $18,860 for propane. Our regular ed transportation was $149,853 to the Goffstown Truck Center. Home Depot Pro, we paid $13,561 for supplies and equipment. We paid Impact Fire $22,965 for a fire alarm and sprinkler maintenance and repairs. And then we paid part of the assessment for the SAU 19, $127,802, and WB Mason just over $5,700. So that category totaled out to be $402,348.58. And then our food service was $20,902 to food and commodities. Or sorry, it's food and commodities to performance food service.
Thank you, Caroline. Does anybody have any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Students, teachers, yes, opposed, and abstaining. Okay, we're unanimous. All right, Doug.
All right, the next thing we have is a night lock device. So this is, the community has come together and they've raised over 7,000, so that's coming from individuals, families, businesses, as well as the Maple PFT. So it's kind of coming to us in two chunks. One is through a GoFundMe, which was organized by Sarah Tollefson, which raised the $5,375. So thank you to all those who donate to that. And the second is coming from the Maple Ave PFT, which is planning to donate $2,000 for the purchase and installation of the night locks at Maple Ave. So with that, we are looking for that a motion so we can accept it and then expend it as well. So my understanding now is that it'd be kind of a combination to get the project all the way done, which has come from a warrant article, school money, as well as now the Maple PFT and individuals and businesses kind of all donating together to get this night lock thing finished. So,
Thank you.
so
Anybody
when we
have any-
first wrote the suggested motion, we didn't know the exact amount, so we put 10,000. So, I mean, it says up to and 10,000, but we could change that to 8,000, leave it at 10,000. Either one works.
Okay. Anybody questions, comments? Go ahead, Jerry.
With this money, do we have to go through an RFP process to actually get somebody that's going to be, no, we don't?
No, we have a vendor, we have somebody all lined up, ready to go.
Okay, and they've gone through the correct clearances and everything else?
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, anybody want to do the motion? It's written on the piece of paper that you guys have. Go ahead, Retta.
I'll make the motion. I motion to accept not me. I motion to accept and expend a donation of up to $10,000. We didn't talk about that. For the purpose of night lock project supplies and installation.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, by Vanessa. All right, any further discussion?
Just again, thank you for the donations
Yeah.
and thank you to PFT.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, all those in favor say, oh, yes.
Just one further question.
Yes.
Was that part of our public hearing? Did we need to have a public hearing to receive this funds, or does it not hit a certain threshold?
It doesn't hit the
It doesn't hit the
threshold. I
threshold.
think the threshold's 25 grand.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Does that
Thank
sound
you.
right, Doug?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, student, opposed, abstaining, unanimous. They said yes. All right, Doug.
All right, great. So the next thing is a transfer for the room that we're sitting in now, so that the GHS Media Center, they're looking to transfer money from the information access fees to replacement furniture and fixtures to buy replacement shelving.
Okay, so we'll need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfer GBT 206 as presented in the amount of $5,000.
Thank you, Shane. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
By Jack. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teacher, student, yes, opposed, abstaining. We're unanimous.
We'll have you sign that one.
Okay. Go ahead, Doug.
All right, so next is the CIP, so the Capital Improvement Program, which is kind of a combination of needs for the town and needs for the school. So that is your larger printout in front of you. So this will also be talked about at the next school board meeting as well. Scott is working with principals, administration, as well as directors to kind of come up with any changes to this. You know, as we look at it with the school board, we're definitely looking for guidance. I think some of the guidance would be for that 2028, 2029 year, which currently has that 90 million in it, which is spread out for multiple projects at multiple levels, but has big chunks for a new school as well as all-day kindergarten. And then obviously for next year, as well as we look to see what we want to expense for next year. So those are two of the key things that we're looking for some guidance, but obviously looking for overall guidance as well.
Go ahead, Jared.
I'll let Brian go first, because I know he's.
Yeah, I was just going to share, I think our timeline, I just wanted to share timeline. I didn't want to get into specific projects. I believe what we're looking for, Doug, is the board would have some opportunity this evening to discuss the matrix, but also to come back to your May meeting and be ready to review it, because I think we saw the schedule, and the date is early June.
It is early June, we're just
Early
unsure
June,
whether
right?
it's before or after the school board meeting in June. So I think on the safe side, May is probably,
I have it in there, but it's on my computer, but yeah, early June, and we present first or second meeting of CIP.
That's all I wanted to share.
Okay. Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, line 255, I'd like to make a motion formally, because I did this last time informally, to change it from a middle school to an elementary school. As per our subcommittee on facility needs, space needs, that recommended a elementary school versus a middle school.
255?
Line 255, which is on page 7 out of 10.
Got it.
So I have a motion for that. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Shane, second. Is there discussion?
Yeah, just the discussion would be that from the space needs facility, whatever it was called, we recommended that if we're going to put something on a warrant article, it would be an elementary school, as that was the primary need that we have for our school district, not a middle school.
Go ahead, Shane.
I generally agree with Jared on this one. Is there any reason why we're opting for a middle school rather than an elementary on the CIP? Is there like a cost difference or anything like that, or?
No, I mean, middle schools are more expensive.
I would think so.
To Jared's recommendation, an elementary school should cost less money.
Well, and I would think that it's more of what we need, and I think that the dollar amount would be more palatable. So that's why I seconded Jared's motion, so I think that's a good idea.
Go ahead, Retta.
So when we say a new elementary school, are we talking about a single elementary school for both Bartlett or in Maple? Or are we saying we need a new Maple Ave elementary school?
There were options that
There
the space needs.
there were options, so.
The most prevalent one was a new elementary school that would potentially include kindergarten for all of Goffstown. Was the main option that they came to as a recommended scenario.
Go ahead, Shane.
And just to add on to that, for me, the biggest thing would be a school that could support full-day kindergarten for Goffstown. Because I think that we are sorely lacking in that area, and we're one of, I don't know, 4 left maybe? I don't know if
Not even. Next
3
year,
left?
next year it'll just be Goffstown, New Boston, and Londonderry.
Yeah, so I don't want to be in that, well, I love New Boston, and Londonderry is very nice. I don't want to be in that company, so.
New Boston's gonna get it. It's gonna happen in New Boston, probably sooner rather than later, but Goffstown, unfortunately. So right now, we have 8 sections of kindergarten. If we went, and we only have 4 physical classrooms, so just do the quick math with me. 4 physical classrooms, if we have 8 sections, because we have 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, we pick up at least 2 full sections every year for parents that send their kids to private kindergarten, and then they show up in first grade. So we need, I don't need 8, I would need 10 sections of kindergarten, would be my anticipated number. I have 4 rooms. So we would be short 6 physical classrooms and 6 teachers, just to even think about doing full-day kindergarten.
And a cafeteria.
Cafeteria, library, all unified arts spaces, the full complement of all those services when kids are there for a full day. Well, you've heard me talk about this before. I think full-day kindergarten is important. I think it's something that the community wants. But unfortunately, when kids go to first grade, kindergarten's kind of long forgotten. So it's a challenge to get funding for full-day kindergarten. I think that will continue to be a challenge for us.
May I ask a clarifying question
Go
to
ahead,
that?
Vanessa.
I know we're not on this line, but I see on line 229, it says like explore full-day kindergarten, and that's allotted for 7.5 million, Brian? what would that represent, exploring? What does that cost represent? Because obviously
Well-
it's not the building or the classrooms.
So that would be for a bond.
It would, okay.
Yeah, I would probably be best to have Scott speak to some of these, because he built this out.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to speak for him, but that's what that is.
Okay. So that is it's not exploring, that would be,
Implementing.
thank you, okay.
So at some point in time,
Well, let's finish, we still have a motion and a second.
Sorry,
Yep,
yeah, I just wanted to see
So-
if that wrapped in, thanks.
Thank you. So we have a motion to change the middle school to elementary and a second. Is there any more discussion on this? All right, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teacher, student, opposed, abstaining. Okay, so we have one abstention, and board all said yes. All right, so motion passed. All right, so go ahead with what you want to talk
yeah,
about kindergarten.
full-day kindergarten will just continue to be a challenge here. So, I mean, we can talk more about this at your board retreat, but this is something that I think will continue to be a challenge for us, and it will likely take a state mandate. It will take the state requiring us to do full-day kindergarten, and maybe they'll put some money on the table if that were to happen, because we are down to 3 of us.
So Doug, since we changed that line to elementary, does that change the amount? And if it does, could we reflect that at the next meeting?
We can look to, I
To
think
see.
the big question is, are you looking to do one large elementary school at that point too? Or use existing space and then a partial, another new elementary school for less than the total amount of kids? So, but we can look to change the price and
Depending on what everybody
depending on
wants.
what it is, yeah.
Okay.
I think it matters on placement too, right?
Hmm.
If we place it on land that we have, or if we place it on land that we don't have.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so this is coming back at the next meeting more in depth. Anybody else have any questions, comments? CIP? Go ahead,
I
Jeff.
think only the things that we talked about, and I will hope to get more direction on this before I talk to CIP, because it's one of the things they beat up upon was, didn't beat up upon, but was mentioned that such a high number put out, like all our eggs in one basket in 28, 29, and if we didn't get that, what would that do? But then also looking through this, if you look, if we did a new school, then a lot of this is roof repair in our existing buildings. So some of that would get wiped away and put into that school. So, repurpose, and then, and maybe, you know, those buildings could bring some money in also to help go towards the new project, or
Right.
some transfer there.
Yeah, that's true.
They can't go away, obviously, before we have a building, but. Yep.
All right, thanks, Jack. All right, so we're gonna move on. Go ahead, Doug.
All right, so we have a request to transfer ownership of the school district-owned ballot machine. So several years ago, when the school district purchased the 5th ballot machine for the town, and thinking that, you know, it's both school and town that have the need for it. So right now, the state is moving forward with replacing the machines, and they're giving a credit of $3,500 for each town-owned machine. So by transferring the ballot counting machine, then that would allow the town to get that credit, and then we'd work on moving forward with some type of understanding with the town as far as maintenance at a prorated type of amount that the school would pay towards maintenance of the machines going forward.
Anybody have any questions, comments? There's a motion here.
I'll make a motion to authorize the administration to transfer ownership of the district's ballot counting machine to the town of Goffstown.
Thank you, Jack. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
By Laura. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, opposed, abstaining, everybody said yes, motion passed. All right, so we already did the CRF withdrawal stuff, right?
Yep, we're all set with that.
Nothing else, Doug, for
Yeah.
that?
Nothing else?
All right, so we're moving on to Budget Committee. Jared?
Mr. Gross sent an email to everybody, don't know if they looked at it, if you looked at your SAU 19 email. New chairs were, or new officers were put in place. Questions were asked, we did not attend, but questions were asked about our vouchers. That's why I didn't want to attend. But I know that they're asking, like, are we continuing with our stipends as we have done in the past?
board member stipends?
Board member stipends. And we haven't had that discussion, and I was under the impression that we passed a budget based on what the Budget Committee put forward. So I don't know if we actually need any formal motions. We'd have nothing to report on it. I know the Select Board is continuing their business as usual, and that has caused problems at the Budget Committee. And they're asking questions about that, on where the money's coming from. So that's kind of the one thing that we have is, what's the school board doing? And we don't have an answer other than we approve the budget the proposed budget that the Budget Committee gave us. Even though it's a bottom line budget, I figured we did ratify the individual lines with it as well, but that's my understanding.
Go ahead, Brian.
So I would tend to agree with Jared on this. I think that the Budget Committee was very clear. Ultimately, this would be up to you. It was an advisory kind of thing, so you can choose to put money in whatever areas you want. We are not planning, so I had not been planning on, as of July 1, that there was any money in any lines for school board member stipends. I think we should have a conversation about maybe the treasurer. That might be something that is another conversation for another day, but we weren't planning on that for board members.
Go ahead, Shane.
I personally am not comfortable diverting any money away from our schools, our children, our teachers, so I would not be in support of taking the stipend myself.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Retta.
I just assumed that it was done, the
Yeah.
decision was made.
Yeah,
So I
did-
guess I
did
didn't,
too.
yeah, what we
Well, you all do this
approved-
for the money, right?
Right.
Clearly, this
Like
is,
I told him last year, I didn't know there was a stipend involved when I got elected, so.
Same.
But yeah, we are unique, or not aligned with the Select Board on that, so there are some questions going to the Select Board about that, which I'm glad we don't get those questions, so.
I thought if you wanted some excitement, I could make a motion, yeah.
Go ahead, Jared.
No, so you can do whatever you want, Jack. I don't want to kick over that hornet's nest. You're at some of those meetings, so.
I do think there's some people that should get their stipends, like the moderator and different people that, aren't sitting here saying, no, we don't want them. There are people that we should ask that question to, I think.
I can share that this is a topic that I already have on the draft retreat agenda for the board. So I know this is an area that you'll want to have some dedicated time to talk a little more about.
Because I think we've all just didn't think we were getting them.
Yeah, so for board members, I would agree.
Because the question, I'm sorry if I may just interject a little bit, because the question
go
will
for
come up is, well, where's the money going to come from? What line are you pulling from in order to pay whatever stipends we want? And what's that basically going to cut
Right.
for next year, if I'm playing the chess game, so.
Yep. Do you have a meeting, no meeting?
No meeting
scheduled?
yet right now. I know that we did talk about doing a joint meeting when budgets are coming up.
Yeah.
The Budget Committee was aligned with that, and they were interested in continuing doing
Tours.
schools. Yeah,
Yeah, they
school
want
tours.
tours.
And
But
that
more of
usually starts in the summer, or end of
Summer and
summer.
into September,
Yeah.
but we want to make sure our administration's focusing on the kids, getting the schools open. But they want it geared more towards budget-related items, not educational-related items. I know that we kind of commingle those from our perspective, because they are the same. But for the Budget Committee, they don't look at it as the same, so they want to focus on those budget-related items for those tours.
Okay.
Tour of the sister.
All right, so you're good with budget report, Jared?
Yeah, if everybody else is.
Okay, everybody good? All right, C&E, Ginny.
At our last C&E meeting, we started delving into the 306 changes, and there isn't much information about these so far, and so that is an ongoing subject, which we'll be talking about at our retreat and ongoing, so not much to give you at this point.
Okay, when's your next meeting?
Our next meeting is May 5th at 7 PM at the SAU.
Okay, thank you.
And
P&C
I'm not
oh,
sure if there'll be a whole lot of more information available for us at that point, but
Okay. Yeah, if you guys choose
As,
to not
yeah,
have
as
it.
information comes along, we'll
Okay.
send it along, but it will be a retreat
Okay,
conversation also.
all right, thank you. PNC, Retta?
Yep. PNC hasn't met since our last meeting, but I do have a number of things to just follow up on quickly. At our last meeting, we talked about doing the video for teacher and staff appreciation, which is the week of May 5th. And so we're recording videos from the board members expressing an appreciation. I think we've got 4 people, 2 who have completed, and I know you 2 are
Yeah, we're
going in
going tomorrow.
So I sent an email with all of the details, and if you can just reach out to Emily, she'll get that. You just tell her what time. Tomorrow, I think she has extended hours, but mainly it's from 12 to 4 for the rest of the week. And I only gave you Thursday. I was trying to get you done before we go off for April vacation, but she also has hours available on Thursday. So if you can get that scheduled, that would be great. Not required, but it'd be great if we could get everybody in, and we're very short.
Yeah, 30 seconds, right?
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Also, just a reminder, lots of great topics coming up on the New Hampshire School Board Association. And speaking of 306 rules, it's TBD. It got canceled, and they're just waiting for information to report out on. So that'll be another great resource. They also have Right to Know Part 2. I was able to attend the crossover, the legislative crossover day, which is April 11th. So House bills go to the Senate, Senate bills go to the House, and it was very interesting. Didn't make it, no worries, you can get to the recording. I think you do have to reach out to get the password, but some good topics coming up. Also, we do have the retreat. It's been mentioned a couple times, and we are looking for agenda items. So if there's anything in particular that you would like to see on the agenda, Brian does a lot of the, picking the topics, but if there's something in particular you want to add on to that. And we have 2 meetings left, and the next one will be May 12th, which is the second Monday of the month.
Right, at 6.
At 6.
Perfect, all right. Policy review, Shane.
Yep, the Policy Review Committee met last Monday. Right now, we're focusing on the priority/required by law policies that we need to kind of clean up or review. Mrs. Moore made us a nice little sheet of all those ones that are required by law, so that's been really helpful. So we're continuing to pick through those. There are a lot of policies that are really dense and require a lot of time, so it is a process that is not necessarily quick, but we are moving through and going as fast as we can. So our next meeting is Monday, May 5th at 5:30 at the SAU office.
Great, thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
All right, superintendent's report.
Thank you. So just a few quick ones for the board this evening. Unfortunately, it looks like the Department of Governmental Efficiencies might have efficiency cut our generator project. So we have heard that the Building Resilient and Infrastructure Communities BRIC grants have been canceled. Chief Murray thinks that there still could be a chance that we could get in on a FEMA hazard mitigation grant, but it's probably not looking great. So just wanted you to be aware of that. We are working on scheduling the joint area meeting that we discussed at the last SAU meeting, and I wanted to float the date of Wednesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for, we'll float that to New Boston as well. We'll see them on Wednesday evening. So the members that are on that committee, if you could let Mrs. Moran know if that might work for Wednesday, June 11th for our joint area meeting.
And where would that be held? At the SAU?
We'll hold that at the SAU at 6 p.m. This last week, we learned that the Allard family, who has very graciously helped us for many years with our JV baseball field that we kind of have a lease agreement with, a rental agreement with, that they are selling the property. So unfortunately, when we don't have baseball diamonds, this is something that occurs. So this topic is on our board retreat, so we will plan to talk more about this, but I wanted to put us on notice that that's where our JV team plays, and that will not be an option for us next year, so that's unfortunate. But I would extend my appreciation to the Allard family for the many years that they've supported student athletes in Goffstown and have helped out with baseball tremendously. Generations of people have been helped, so thank you. I wanted to let the board know that we administered the Youth Risk Behavioral Survey. I believe that was just last week. I wanted to let the board know that we made an error. We had a student whose parent had opted them out of participating in the Youth Risk Behavioral Survey, and we made a mistake, and that student was given it. So I wanted you to know that that happened, and I've used this as an opportunity. I've asked Mrs. Kohler to do a review of our processes for opting, parents opting kids out, as well as our communication and our documentation across all levels. So I've asked her to do that and to report out to the C&E committee, so Mrs. McKinnon can hear that at the committee as well. I apologize to the family, but I think that this is an opportunity for us to take a deeper look. And my last piece I wanted to inform the board is we'll be moving forward with the hiring to replace Mrs. Johnson from Maple Ave, who is retiring. The board will recall that we'll be replacing with a special education facilitator position, and that process will be, I think it's, postings are up now, but I talked to Mr. Demers today, and they're getting ready to start that process. So more to come on that, and I would pause there and see if there are any questions that either I can answer, Mrs. Kohler, Mr. Totten.
Anyone? No? All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Bless you. All right, old business, New Hampshire Registered Educator Apprenticeship Program. Wendy, are you gonna go over this?
No, so I'm going to apologize for this one. We have a great handout for you that's on my desk. It's terrific. It explains the whole program, and we'll talk about it in May.
Okay.
So I apologize.
Next meeting. Okay.
You have it?
I brought it with me because I knew you were going to talk about it. Would you like me to quickly do it? We can move it on the agenda?
Why don't, yes,
Okay.
because we didn't know you had that. So,
I brought
yes,
it
perfect.
because I knew you were talking about it.
She's
All
got
right.
your back.
So why don't I start talking about it a little bit? And so this is a program that the state of New Hampshire has money available for students to become, for people who are interested in becoming certified as a teacher. There's a new program called Educator Apprenticeship Program that allows for a pathway that is almost debt-free for students to become certified as teachers in New Hampshire. There are a number of participating institutions of higher education that are offering this program. The handout that Mrs. Kohler is copying that I thought was on my desk that she happened to have, which is terrific, will outline. But this allows for people to be hired as a full-time paraprofessional, and it pays for coursework, books, transportation.
How did I get it?
Never mind, Wendy.
I was like, what is
Here
all
it
these
is.
papers?
It's coming around.
Wasn't Heather's packet.
It was-
She
It was in
signed
my
it.
packet. I'm like, why is this?
That's okay.
All right, well, we got it.
All right, let me see if I was accurate so far. So this is a program that allows working paraprofessionals to become certified teachers within 2 to 4 years with little to no program debt. So that's pretty accurate for what I shared. They're calling it a 2+2 program, where participating people will earn their associate's degree and their bachelor's degree. And there are currently 26 school districts participating in this program. So will this provide us with a number of certified teachers? It may or it may not. I'm not entirely sure. But I do know that people are interested in this program, and they are looking for districts that are participating so they can become employed here. So I do think this is important as an employment tool, and to allow this to happen. So, Wendy, what else would
Yeah.
we share?
I think the big part of it is the recruiting tool, especially when we have this program for people that are looking to become educators. If they come to us as paraprofessionals knowing that our district is helping to support this program, I think that we could start filling some of the paraprofessional positions that we've had open and vacant for quite some time. And this is a problem that we have every year. So for someone to be able to come out almost debt-free while they're going to school and working as a paraprofessional is a pretty unique opportunity. So we're excited about it. We're gonna work with people who are interested in this program. One of the things, as an example, that we talked about is for people, as an example, that are going in to become certified special ed teachers, perhaps if they work here at Goffstown High School, getting them opportunities during the summer to be able to work summer school with some of our younger students to give them different opportunities will be part of what we'll work with our employees. So this is really exciting for us. Kate McGrath and I have been working with Mary Ford, who is the director of this program, in kind of ironing everything out. Ms. McGrath also has met with union representation on 2 different occasions, both for support staff and the professional staff, to make sure that they didn't have any concerns about the program either.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Go
Are
ahead,
there any
Jay.
other surrounding communities from Goffstown that are currently in this as part of the 26?
Manchester.
Manchester, Pinkerton is a
Pinkerton, that's
big
right.
one. They
I
have a
heard
very
Salem.
large cohort.
Salem.
Yes.
But probably the closest one geographically is Manchester. Yep.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Jenny.
What is the college contacts in this? Like, where are they getting their actual education from?
There's choices. So as they apply into the program, there's different pathways that they can go through. Some of them will actually start with the community college system and then can migrate into a 4-year institution. But there are choices, but they're all accredited colleges and programs.
Okay, and is the credit requirement similar to a
It's
teacher
aligned-
that goes in that's not
Yeah.
in this program?
Yeah, it's just like they were taking a certification granted program through
Right.
the university system.
Okay, and we would basically be doing any of the student-teacher type stuff?
So
Like
the
their
student teacher,
contact
that
with kids
talk
stuff?
about that, Wendy.
So the
This
student
was the
teaching-
trickiest part for us.
Yeah,
Okay.
the student teaching is actually going to be embedded in what they're doing professionally anyways. So being in classrooms, working with small groups, working one-on-one, they'll be working with their professors through the college level, using their experience as a paraprofessional as part of their internship. So we spoke about this more than a year ago
Yeah.
now, and that was one of the things we were concerned about, is if they were going to get pulled to do their actual full student teaching, and for us to be paying for them and then not being in a paraprofessional role. But that has since gone away. It's going to be job-embedded internship through their paraprofessional work in order to get the credit that they need through their internship. That's how it's going to work.
I think my question is, though, how are they going to get their teacher BA instructional work done, not a para? Because a para is different from the teacher that actually teaches a class. So how are they going to get their, BA educational experience?
The way
as a
that the
pro-
program is built is they're doing it as a paraprofessional. That's how the program is built, through the universities. This isn't us saying, you're gonna do it as a paraprofessional and it will meet the expectations of the program. The college programs have now made it so that people that are involved in this will actually do that work, but in small group, and they may not have a full class setting. That's how it's built.
I don't understand how this works as a teacher if you're only working as a para.
I got you, Ginny.
Okay,
ahead,
thank
Shane.
you.
So I actually did, it wasn't this program, but I got my certification through Granite State
And
College.
I'm not being a stuck-up.
No,
I'm
no, I
just-
know, I understand.
I know there's different things
Yeah, no.
between.
Totally get it.
I mean-
So I was actually working as a paraprofessional, working on my special education certification. So as part of that, I would do things like create lesson plans, and then I would have someone like, I don't know, Michael McMurray, come and observe me. And I would deliver a lesson plan to, I was in a social studies class, and I would work with my social studies teacher I was working with and say, hey, do you mind if I do this lesson on Wednesday? And he'd say, awesome, do it. He'd look at my lesson plan, he'd look it over, say, this looks great. A teacher would come in and observe me from the college, and then I would do the lesson, and I would basically do it that way. I'd meet with the teacher after, and then he would kind of give me some feedback. So that's kind of how it works, as someone who did this just in a different program. But you're basically given the opportunity to kind of learn on the job and, take that time to do it, as long as you have a cooperating school who's really open to that, which I think we would be here. That's kind of how it works.
Because I worked as a para before.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a teacher.
Yeah.
And I didn't get teacher, education.
You gotta make it work, but
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I did.
And I think that the university system has recognized that there's a need for teacher certification. And so I think they're just trying to be creative. And I think that they use some COVID money to fund this. I'm not entirely sure all the funding mechanisms, but the fact that we need teachers and someone can basically get a free college experience is pretty incredible when we need teachers, so.
Yeah. Well, I think the premise on the outside sounds excellent. I mean, if you can have what you need to do a good job and not have to pay much for it, awesome.
Yep.
But I'm just hoping that we're going to get educators in our school that are qualified educators and know how to handle the deep things that they're gonna get once they get in the classroom. If they've never handled the classroom and had somebody looking over them and saying, whoa, when this happens, let's look at some answers about how we handle it, as the classroom teacher that's in charge right then, not somebody that, go back and talk to and develop a lesson plan about. So I'm just hoping that, that we're going to get people that feel comfortable coming into the classroom.
I turned out okay.
Pardon me?
I turned out okay.
Sounds like.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Ginny, I think the important thing to remember is, as they're in the college system as well, they are going to be getting all of those methods and content classes. And one other thing that I would mention is, we hire teachers every year, and unfortunately, and fortunately, both, we're getting a lot of people on alternative pathways. So coming from the private sector that perhaps have not had those experiences in a full teaching session. And through our mentorship program that we have here for our first and second year teachers and making sure that we're supporting people, we already have this happening anyways. It's just different because they're finishing up, they're coming to us, are not certified or going on that pathway. This just helps them along with the college cost associated with it, with some of the things that we're already doing anyways. And when they're done in 2 to 4 years, they'll come out certified. So I think this is actually going to be better for us in the long run.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rita.
So in addition to their internship in the classroom, will this program pay for the courses that they will need to take that aren't part of the apprenticeship?
Tuition, books, supplies, and
Yes.
even childcare.
For the entire degree or just for what they're doing in the school?
I believe the entire program.
Okay.
Yes.
They did something similar with this, but
Yeah.
yours isn't. Yes.
And then a follow-up question, and I see a draft motion here, and it says, sign the agreement with the National Collaborative for Digital Equity. Is that the name of the program?
That's the program that we'd be working with. That's, Mary Ford is the director of that program, so we would be working with her as the main point person to get this off the ground and running.
And the student chooses their institution that they want to get their degree through?
Yes, so they still have to apply to the college system and be accepted and do all of that on their own. They're just using us as the vehicle, being employed with us to be able to get their degree and get their certification.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Does anybody want to do a motion if we're good with this?
I'll make a motion to approve immediate implementation of the New Hampshire Registered Educator Apprenticeship Program, limited to educator prep programs that embed the student teaching experience into the coursework, thereby eliminating the paid internship program provision in the Goffstown School District.
Thank you, Shane. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
By Jack. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, opposed? I am abstaining because I have a family member that is interested in this program.
I'm abstaining also.
Okay, so we have 2 abstentions. So the motion passed.
Thank you.
All right, so we have new business.
Well, we actually have one policy that falls under old business because it did come before the board last time we met,
Okay.
which was the policy AC,
Oh.
which you should have in front of you as a second
Yes.
read. Remember, this is the one that we are reverting back to Title IX from 2020 rather than the Title IX from 2024. So again, remember, we wanted to kind of get this one through quickly so that way we had a policy for Title IX in the books. So we do have that for second read. So that would come to the board for adoption at our next meeting, unless anyone has any feedback on that. It's exactly what our policy was from the 2020 Title IX, so.
Those will come back next time.
Yep.
All right, so now we have first read.
And then we do have a number of first read policies. So again, no action is needed tonight. These are for review, and then we can take questions at our next meeting. We have AC and ACR, which actually, AC is not one of them because AC is
No,
the
we
second
just
read
did
we
read.
just talked about. So not that one. But we do have EHB and EHBR, which is data records retention. We have JICI and JICIR, which are weapons on school property.
For students.
For students,
For students.
yes,
Doesn't say
correct.
that.
So that policy is only students.
It doesn't say that.
Right, so any policy under J is a student policy. There's a different beginning letter for staff or community. So anytime you see a policy that starts with J, that is referring to students.
Oh, I understand what it says up here, but it also says public and all this other information down here. So it's very confusing.
We took out, where do you see public?
Weapons are not permitted in school buildings, on school property, in school vehicles, or at school-sponsored activities.
Right, that's for students.
Well, doesn't say it. And then further down, because if I go up and say, do we have any students that are police officers? Probably not.
Doubt it.
And then why are we mentioning police officers in here then?
All right, where, okay.
Weapons under control of law enforcement personnel are permitted. Do we have any law enforcement personnel that are students here at the schools?
I'm guessing we do not.
Yeah, so
Right.
why we have that, because that's what's causing the confusion. Last paragraph, we also say, or unintentional violations of this policy by adults or students, provided such inadvertent or unintentional violations of this policy does not affect the safety of students, school staff, or public. But again, we're mixing in non-students with students.
Yeah, I see what
For
you're saying.
student policy.
So this, Shane's right, any policy that is in the J section only pertains to students. So at the top, it does say students, but I see what you're saying, Jared. Why don't we send JICI back to policy and take?
I'm okay with them continuing on with amendments, that's absolutely fine. I don't think we need to kick it back, because I know Shane is very competent, and the committee is very competent as well, if we make amendments to it as it comes up. Because we'd do the same thing if it was questions.
Yeah,
We'd make
whatever the board
amendments during the
thinks,
question period.
because again, this is a first read, so if the board can take it as the first read, and then we can talk about this at our next meeting and make amendments, or we can send it back to policy, it's whatever the pleasure of the board is, so. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Retta.
So, can the title be changed just to include students? Is that, or does that title have to stay the same?
No, you could change the title. You could change the title, if you wanted to make, if it would make it more clear.
And so I, just talking to Ms. Moore right here real quick, and she did say, Jared, if you have ideas for amendments, you can send them along to, me and Mrs. Moore, and we can.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because again, I just want to make sure as we're putting things together, there's consistency. If we're talking about this is geared towards students and faculty, you know, even in 20 USC, it does say that you can have a weapon in a locked vehicle. So there's some clarity that's associated with some of that as well.
Sure.
But I definitely think if we're talking just students, weapons under control of law enforcement personnel are permitted. That should probably be stricken, because
Sure.
we don't have students that are law enforcement personnel.
Yep.
Unless we're putting undercovers in place.
We're not. I can't even get an SRO up at Mountain View. We don't have any undercover cops hidden at the high school, I
Yeah,
promise.
so I do understand how, like, the mixing of you have public, and so I get that. how
I
it could
think
be
the
confusing.
sentence where members of the public may be report, I think that entire sentence that is underlined might just be stricken, and that might take care of it.
And we thought there might be some discussion around this one, so this is not unexpected.
Heather?
Can I ask a question?
Yep, go ahead, Laura,
Just,
sorry.
which school board policy refers to weapons on school property that are not held by students, but visitors to school property? And can we hold them both side by side as there's a discussion around policy?
We could. There are different laws that pertain to
Yes.
that. So students and staff are governed by the Safe and Drug-Free School Zone law, which is a federal law. And then in New Hampshire, we have a lot of civil liberties around guns
Yep.
and not requiring permits, et cetera. So New Hampshire, the Safe and Gun-Free School Zone law does not apply to members of the community.
Yeah, I was just wondering about looking at this alongside the other, for example, for the things that's talking about members of local law enforcement and that. I just wanted to review both.
So we don't
Do you know
really-
what policy that is, or I can look it
I would
We
have
don't-
to.
I have to
Okay.
look it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'd have to look through the list.
Yeah, I don't know
But we
if
can
there's.
find it for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna send
I'll s-
Denise and Shane stuff, and we can bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
we
the
can
next
discuss it.
one.
Let's collaborate
Everybody-
on that
Yeah.
and
And then
see.
everybody can read
Yeah,
it, and if
yeah.
it needs to go back to policy, it can.
Sure.
Is that the plan?
That works for me.
And of course, anybody else has any
Yeah,
questions?
and that for the rest of the board as well. If you have suggestions around this policy, feel free to send some.
Or any policy.
Or any policy, right, yeah. But feel free to send that along and we will make the changes and then have a discussion to make sure we land where we want to land as a board.
Slingshot, not slungshot.
No, it's slingshot.
No, it is
We looked at it.
slingshot.
No, we
We've
checked
looked
that.
this up.
We checked that.
We've
Many
been there,
years.
we've been there.
We looked it up.
Yeah.
What?
The operational definitions are crazy.
We've
Yeah.
been banding
two
out.
different things.
We've
It's
banded
two
out for a
different
while,
things.
yeah.
Okay.
Send you a picture of a
No.
I don't want to put you in extra work. I'll Google it in a little bit.
And then we have JJIC, which is eligibility for interscholastic athletics, which is, again, required by law. And then KI, which is the visitor to school policy, which I think we just made some clarifications on there around what our practices are. And then we have a couple of policies that are being recommended for deletion because the content of these policies are actually contained within ACAC. That's GBAA, which is the sexual harassment and violence for staff, and JBAA for sexual harassment and violence for students. So any staff policy is gonna start with G. I was trying to remember what the letter was, but staff is G. So, so we have those. I think, no, it's for first read. I'm gonna say, could we do a motion tonight for, no, we'll do it.
No, we can do it.
Yeah.
The next time, all right, second.
So those are the first reads. Again, if you have suggestions, you can email those along and we will make the recommended changes and we can have a discussion at our next meeting.
Awesome, thank you, Shane.
All right, thanks everyone.
So general assurance, what is that?
Yeah,
Let's
so
see.
the general assurances, I wanted to include this on the board agenda and to have this be an action of the board. So every year to apply for federal funds, we have to sign off on what are called the general assurances. We just received them, so I got the general assurances, but I haven't gotten what our grant allocations will be for next year. So we have the general assurances, we do need to sign them. So it needs to be signed by the superintendent and the chair of the school board. Every single page has to be signed or initialed. I already signed them.
That's what this is?
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. At this point, we don't know what our allocations are. That's a little behind. And in fact, Mrs. Kohler and I were on a call with the New Hampshire Education Department today, and they shared that they don't know the allocation amounts. But either way, we have to sign the general assurances. So we would be looking for a motion to authorize the superintendent to sign off as well as the board chair on the general assurances.
Anybody?
So moved.
Oh. All right, so Jack made the motion. And do we have a second?
1 second.
By Retta, sorry, I saw her
Oh, that's
hand
fine,
up.
no worries.
Any further discussion?
What are the general assurances?
He just went through it. Do you want to explain that again, Brian?
The general assurances, in order to receive any federal funds, we have to sign off, the superintendent and the board chair, that we are in compliance with all federal laws. So this goes back to all the different title laws, and we have to go back through, the majority of the statutes are from the 1960s or later, but we have to sign off every year on the general assurances. It didn't always include the school board chair. It's always been the superintendent for 100 years. And it's gone back and forth whether the school board chair had to sign as well. But this is the latest version, is that it's the superintendent and the board chair. So if we want to get any federal funds, we have to sign this document.
Retta?
Is this the thing that's going around?
Nope, that's Title VI.
Okay.
So
that-
the thing that's, let me talk about that. The thing that's going around is superintendents were presented about 2 weeks ago with a request that came from the US DOE. So this is Washington, this is not Concord. And all superintendents were asked to sign off that we are in compliance with the Title VI provisions from 1964. There was language in the letter that was sent to superintendents that referenced executive actions of the president that included the elimination of things like DEI-type programs, and that was included. But I signed the Title VI letter and sent it in as soon as it came out. We're fully compliant with Title VI. I had no issues. Actually, this has become kind of a contentious thing, though. There are a lot of school districts that haven't signed it. It's a fairly short list. It's actually published on the department's website. I had a meeting this past Friday with Commissioner Edelblue. I didn't realize that they'd published all the forms. The ones that I signed are all posted on the website. So every school district has been required to sign off. School districts that have not have been told that they're not going to be in compliance with the U.S. Education Department's responsibilities and requirements, and they are jeopardizing federal funds, including the entire state of Maine. But that's a separate issue, separate but related.
And it would also be tied to food funding?
All federal funds. So to receive anything, you have to sign off on the general assurances, but what you're talking about is that Title VI.
Okay.
And we'd never been asked to sign that before, and I shared this with the board that I didn't have a problem with it. I know a lot of superintendents did, but we're not discriminating against people, so I was perfectly comfortable signing it. But that's what that is.
Are you good, Ginny?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so.
Can we have one
we
clarification
have-
on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you said that it was some of the new EOs were mentioned, but you didn't sign off on them, or they were part of that sign off? You said it was the Title VI from 64.
Two different things.
Two different things, okay.
What Retta was asking about, the thing that's kind of a hot topic right now, that was the Title VI from 1964 that we had to sign, only superintendents had to sign it, that we were compliant with that. This one is for all of the general assurances. That includes Title VI, but it includes a lot more. It's, how many pages is it? It's like 30 pages.
So the
Yeah.
EOs are included in this one that we
They're all-
talked about
yes.
tonight?
That's a lot.
Okay.
All the Title VI, it's all included in the.
All right,
and-
I
and
understand.
This is anyone's welcome to get a copy of this. This is the same general assurances that every school district in the state is being asked to sign off on. So it's not, we're all signing the same documents.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, students, teachers, opposed,
I'm
abstaining.
going to abstain. I don't know what all those things are, and
Okay,
without knowing them, I'm
sure.
kind of nervous in light of the way things are going these days,
So one abstention.
not knowing what every word is.
Okay, that's fine. Absolutely. So motion passed. All right, so before we get on to staffing, Doug, there was one thing you were going to talk about tonight was the board question. If you could just mention that real quick. We talked about it in A and F.
Yeah, so each year, the auditors have different questionnaires that go out to different groups or individuals. One is the school board questionnaire, which is multiple questions. Last year, I believe Scott emailed it to everybody, and everyone kind of filled it out kind of by themselves, and then it kind of funneled into the answers for the board. This year, we're looking to do things a little bit different. We're trying to do multiple things different with the audit, just to kind of get more things done in June that we can, because once we hit July, it became very busy in the business office last year and every year, so we're trying to bump some things up. So one thing that I did at the last district was at a school board meeting, the school board chair would read out the questions, and as a group, people would agree with what the answer was to those questions for the school board questionnaire from Plodzik, which is our auditors type of thing. So we will email out those questions to the board. So at your June meeting, you'd be ready to, as a group, answer those questions.
First June meeting.
At the first June meeting.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Doug. All right, so now moving on to staffing.
Okay, thank you. For notification only, we have a few track changes, so congratulations to those teachers. And we have a decrease in full-time equivalents. This is a teacher who's going part-time, decreasing from 100% to 0.6, and that's a teacher at Bartlett. For your approval this evening, we have a number of nominations, one for sports and as well as a number for non-sports. Maybe we'll do them by group,
Yeah,
if I can stop there.
yeah, so we can do sports and non-sports together? Or do you want to do sports and then non-sports?
I'm going to make a motion to approve the co-curricular sports nomination as presented.
All right, thank you, Shane. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Vanessa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, student, yes, opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. Go ahead, Shane.
Now I'll make a motion to, that was a nomination, to approve the co-curricular non-sports nominations as presented.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
By Vanessa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes, opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. Go ahead.
We have a leave of absence of an elementary teacher for 1 year.
All right, so I'll need a motion for that.
I will make a motion to approve the teacher leave of absence as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
By Vanessa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes, opposed, and abstaining, we're unanimous. Go ahead.
We have 3 teacher resignations.
I'll make a motion to approve the teacher resignations as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
By Vanessa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. And they all said yes, teachers, student. Okay, go ahead.
And lastly, we have 2 teacher nominations, and I would point out the name on the bottom that, Mr. McDermott will be coming back as a 1-year teaching position, and he'll be teaching the logic and rhetoric courses that we had been working on. So thrilled to have Mr. McDermott retain with us.
Awesome. Go ahead, Shane.
I'll make a motion to approve the teacher nominations as presented.
I need a second.
Second.
By Vanessa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes, opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous. All right.
And lastly, this is on your agenda as well as the bottom of the staffing sheet. We have 5 new co-curricular pilot requests. So this is kind of a new process for us. We're bringing them all at once. So these are the requests that the buildings have made. Best Buddies is a program for students with intellectual disabilities. The First Lego is an elementary program. Esports is exactly what it sounds like. It's this is video gaming, but it is now an NHIAA sport. I'm open to this idea, but this is very popular. It's
blowing up.
Very popular. And the next one is Health Occupation Students of America, and lastly, Science National Honor Society. So there's no funding associated with these, and consistent with our process, these pilots would go forward for a number of years before they would be eligible for any funding.
All right, so we'll need a motion for this.
And they all have an advisor?
They do. They do.
I'll make a motion to approve the new co-curricular pilot requests as presented.
Thank you, Shane. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Laura.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say
Too fast.
aye.
Aye.
Teachers, student, yes, opposed, abstaining. Okay, we're unanimous.
See?
Thank you.
That's the way it's just making fun of me about us not having
Has
best buddies.
robotics pretty much taken the place of OM these days? I don't see much about OM. I see
So
robotics
OM
and
is
stuff.
gone.
Is it?
OM is now Destination Imagination.
Okay,
So the
yeah.
program is still up and kicking, but
Okay.
Odyssey of the Mind is,
Right.
I coached that, feels like 100 years
We
ago.
did too back in the day.
Yeah,
It's a cool program.
it was a cool program.
All right, so 3 things.
I'd like to nominate the music presentation.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I was gonna say the whole meeting. I mean, we had so much
Yeah.
on it.
No, we can't, I need 3.
Yes, I know.
For P and C. All right, number 2.
I'd like to call out that all those community members finished paying the $7,000 and change dollars
for the
for the
night
night
locks?
locks, which has been months, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to raise.
It was. I saw a lot of familiar names on there too, which is helpful. So
Nice.
I think that should be called out.
So there's 2.
There's 2. I don't know if anyone else has other topics. I think we covered a lot of important topics, but one of the things that stood out tonight was just the amount of information that the teachers and the student rep bring in, that we learned so much about what's happening in the schools. We used to get 1 or 2 things, but, so I'd throw that out there, but we could do that at any time.
I do like that.
I do like that too.
I also like that it's Volunteer Appreciation Week. So that might be something I
That's
might want
4
to do.
things.
I know. So we gotta
He's
decide.
throwing a wrench in it.
And then the new program.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
apprenticeship program.
Oh, geez, that's 5.
See, I told you, the whole meeting.
I know.
So, again, we've got the music presentation, night locks, what were the ones that were just added, the new,
Educator apprenticeship.
new,
I like that one.
I like that one.
Yeah, there's your 3.
And
Yep.
then we'll applaud the student and teacher reps on a
yeah,
slower
we still have
meeting
a
day.
few more meetings.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
We won't forget you guys.
All right, so this is the top 3 things. So just, and I don't know if anybody caught, but the next meeting is actually May 12th, so it's not the first Monday of the month, because that's the Monday after break. So we're coming to the second Monday. So then that's the only meeting in May. So I just want to make sure everybody saw that May 12th is correct.
But there are committees that meet on that.
There
Monday.
are committees meeting on the 5th, yeah. Ginny?
Yeah, I just have a question. I wanted to bring it up before this came back for our second reading, and that's on JJIC. It gives eligibility for interscholastic athletics, and I hear a lot now about homeschools and charter school kids being able to do sports and co-curriculars in Goffstown schools. And we have like eligibility standards for kids in Goffstown schools, and we have no standards for, that I know of, for homeschool or charter school kids. So how does that work if a Goffstown student can't play because of our eligibility standards, but a kid that doesn't sit in a school all day and has eligibility standards can't play, other than the fact that it's a state rule?
I can answer that. There's actually a policy, JJJ, that I'm trying to look right now to make sure we have, that actually governs private and charter school students participating in
Okay.
public school programs. And I know the policy JJJ that I'm familiar with states that they must meet the same eligibility requirements as those that are attending the public school.
Okay, because I don't see anything like that on this JJIC, so
Right.
there is another
JJJ is,
policy that.
I'm looking to see if we have it, if I can,
Okay.
if I get service. But that governs private students accessing the public school.
Okay, so I'll look that up
Yeah.
and see if the
It's,
standards are the
Yeah.
same.
if I can just add to this also, it's not the same. It's not the same. So
Yeah,
if
because
you're,
they're-
if you're gonna be eligible to participate in athletics at Goffstown High School or at Mountain View Middle School, you have to pass
Behavior,
classes.
grades,
There are multiple areas that you
attendance,
have to
yeah.
achieve. We would not have those same metrics with a homeschooled student. It's
So-
just not the same.
So how does that work in fairness to
We
kids?
err on the side of generosity.
Yeah, depends on your definition of fair.
If they're eligible to participate in a program, if they don't have traditional grades, how am I gonna use grades against them? So,
So these are also good questions for when we bring it back at the next week.
Okay.
If you had more questions,
Okay.
especially about the other policy.
Okay, very good.
All right, so is there any other business? Go ahead, Rheta.
I already said it, but I'm going to remind you again because it was such a long time ago. Don't forget to schedule your video recording.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
And GTV is great working
green,
with
right?
you.
I wore green glasses.
Don't wear green.
Don't wear green.
Don't wear green.
They're
It's
so
all
sweet.
in the email.
And I know that the teachers and staff really appreciate it. So if every board member could do it, that would be wonderful.
And if you panic, they'll let you start over 100
Yep,
times.
they do. They do. They're really good. All right, so
5 tries.
we do have non-public.
we do.
So I'll need a motion to go into RSA 91A32C
So moved.
by Shane. Do I have a second? By Jack. Sorry, I saw Jack's hand up.
Okay.
All right, roll call.
Before we go.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Are we going to be having a vote after we come out of non-public? I know that
I'm not
that's been
anticipating a vote.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so,
Yes.
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 yes, all right, we are in non-public.
So we'll go down